Welcome to SATV News. This is Nuri Alamin with the headlines. Tariq Rahman to register as a voter on December 27, announces Salahuddin Ahmed. NCP Labour Wing leader shoot in broad daylight in Khulna. Motive behind the shooting remains unclear. Significant progress made in Usman Hadi murder probe, said Home Affairs advisor. Now in details. BNP acting chairman Tariq Rahman will register as a voter on 27 December, announced the party's standing committee member Salahuddin Ahmed today. He also made the announcement after a meeting with Chief Election Commissioner A.M.M. Nasiruddin at the Election Commission headquarters at Agargaon, Dhaka. A three-member BNP delegation met the CEC at his office this afternoon. The delegation led by Mr. Salahuddin also included Ismail Zahibullah, a member of the BNP Chairperson's Advisory Council, and former Acting Secretary of the Election Commission, Muhammad Zakaria. The meeting discussed the inclusion of Tariq Rahman's name in the voter list. The discussion also focused on the procedural and legal matters concerning voter registration and candidacy requirements ahead of the 13th national parliamentary election, as well as Tariq Rahman returned to Bangladesh on 25th December after an 18-year exile. Meanwhile, BNP Secretary General Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir has said today that attack on newspapers in an attack on democracy and July revolution as well. All pro-democracy forces must unite to resist this evil force, he also added. Mr. Fakhrul made this remark while expressing solidarity at the protest rally organized in response to the attack and arson of the offices of Pratham Alo and the Daily Star, as well as the harassment of Nurul Kabir, editor, the new ace and president of the Editor Council. The joint protest rally, titled Bangladesh Under a Move of Violence, was organized at Pan Pacific Sunargaon and by the editors of the Council and Organization for the Newspaper Editor and the Newspaper Owners Association as well. Leaders of various political parties, representatives of the professional bodies, business organization, journalist association and member of civil society from different walks of life attended in the rally of solidarity. Afterwards, they formed a human chain on the road beside Pan Pacific Sunargaon. Chief Election Commissioner A.M.M. Nasiruddin this morning said he is so much confident law and order situation will further improve as this election approaches. The CEC made the remark while inspecting the overall situation of sending postal ballot abroad at the Bangladesh Post Office Mail Processing and Logistics Service Center in the capital Tesgaon area. When the attention was drawn in the candidates and voter the seeking following the recent attack of Sharif Usman Hadi, he said there is no need to worry. The fear will go away, he said. When asked if he still believes that turn election into turnover into a festive one given the current environment, the CEC said absolutely the election will be a festival of the votes. He further mentioned that EC along with the chief of all law enforcement agencies jointly conveyed a message to the nation that all are united in holding a credible election. National Citizen Party Khulna Division Chief and Central Organizer of the Shramik Shakti Mutalib Sheikhdar and was shot in public city, the Shonadanga area around 11:45 a.m. today. He was also taken to Khulna Medical College Hospital in critical situation. Shonadanga Police, the Model Police Station officer in charge of investigation, Onimesh Mandal, said the Sheikhdar was shot and by miscreant and rescued by a local who rushed him to the hospital. Police were later deployed to the scene and the police officer aided to the motive behind the shooting remains was unclear and the identities of those involved and yet to be established. Law enforcement have already launched a drive to apprehend the attacker, he also said. Home Affairs Advisor Jahangir Alam Chaudhary today said the investigations and the investigators have made significant progress in the probe into the murder of the Inqilab Manch spokesperson Sharif Osman bin Hadi, and that warning that no one involved in the killing would be spared. The interim government, including the Ministry of Home Affairs, is giving the highest priority to bringing those involved in the murder of Hadi and the frontline fighter for the July uprising to justice. He told the journalists after a meeting on law and order situation at the Secretariat, warning that no one involved would be spared. The advisor said 10 people have already been arrested in connection with murder by joint forces. Those arrested include the Shahida Parveen Samia, wife of Faisal Karim, and alleged the mastermind of killing, along with the parents, brother-in-law Wahid Ahmed Shepu, and motorcycle owner Abdul Hannam, he also said. Besides, he said the border guard Bangladesh has been arrested 5 associates to broker gang leader Philip, including his wife and father-in-law, on the suspicion for involvement, and the incident of handed over to the police. Meanwhile, Inqilab Manch today announced indefinite street demonstrations to process home to arrest of killer of its convener Sharif Osman Hadi, issuing a 24-hour ultimatum to ensure a trial for speedy and trial for tribunal, and seeking international intelligence agencies and support if it is required. Inqilab Manch said that justice must be ensured before the forthcoming national election scheduled to be held on February 20, 2026. Addressing a press conference, the capital's Shahbag Inqilab Manch member, Secretary Abdullah Al-Jaber, said justice must be ensured before the election. Viewers, we're taking a short break. Stay with us.
সারা দেশে লাখো মানুষের কঠোর কর্মতৎপরতা ও নিষ্ঠায় এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস এখন 16 কোটি মানুষের হাতের নাগালে। দীর্ঘ 30 বছর ধরে বিশ্বস্ততা ও দ্রুততার সাথে সেবা দেওয়ায় গ্রাহক সেবায় এখন শীর্ষে। বাংলাদেশে গ্রাহক সেবার সাফল্যের পর এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস এখন বিশ্ব বাণিজ্য কেন্দ্র সিঙ্গাপুরে। আপনার যে কোনো পণ্য সিঙ্গাপুর থেকে বাংলাদেশে বুকিং এর জন্য যোগাযোগ করুন। এসএ পরিবহন প্রাইভেট লিমিটেড, লজিস্টিক্স, পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস 22।
Welcome back, and you are watching SATV News. Now, news from abroad. A senior Russian general was killed in a car explosion in Moscow on Monday. He also said the country's investigation committee member. The committee said in a statement on Telegram that Lieutenant General Fanil Sarvarov, hired from the Russian General Staff Operational Training Department, died from injury caused by the blast. According to the investigator, an explosive device planted under the bottom for the car was detonated, and there was Evans Street in Moscow on Monday. The statement said it was also stated the investigations are underway following the opening of a criminal case for the Moscow. Investigators are pursuing the various theories regarding this matter. One of them is that the crime was orchestrated by Ukrainian intelligence service UIS, it also added. The United States has offered a potential new format for peace talks between Ukraine and Russia, with the US and possibly European envoy participating, said Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Sunday. Kiev will decide on the format. It was so much clear whether the bilateral ties and discussions with U.S. negotiator that resumed on Friday are positive, Zelensky said, adding the plan to take up the matter with Ukraine delegation chief Rostom Umov. Speaking to journalists in Kiev during the joint press conference with visiting Portuguese PM Luis Montenegro, he didn't go into specifies as what kind of format President Donald Trump administration has proposed. One person has been arrested in connection with the Soulsville mass disturbance shooting that killed 9 people and wounded 10 others on Sunday. The incident occurred just before 1 a.m. local time at the tavern in the Johannesburg, the Bexel Township, said the police in a statement. About 12 unknown suspects in a white minibus and a silver set an open fire on the traveling patrol and continued shooting randomly as they fled on scene, according to the police. The motive for the shooting was still unknown. He also said the police, the injured, are being treated in some local hospitals. Defense officials from Thailand and Cambodia will meet on December 24 to discuss the possibility of resuming a ceasefire between the two countries, Thailand's top diplomat said on Monday, as the border fighting entered a third week. The decision was taken for the Monday during a special justice for the meeting in Kuala Lumpur of Southeast Asian foreign ministers who were seeking to salvage a truce first brokered by ASEAN chair Malaysia and US President Donald Trump after the previous round of clashes in July. The two countries agreed to hold talks using their General Border Committee and established the bilateral mechanism when Thailand proposing that it takes place at the border line the Thai province of the Canterbury Foreign Minister Shishang's Poinkecho. It was told to briefing Kuala Lumpur this time. Let's briefing for the matter. China asked Japan to cease the provocation action on nuclear weapons on Monday. The comment came after the senior Japanese security official suggested the country should acquire them to deter potential aggression. Japan reaffirmed its decade-old plea never to possess nuclear weapon on Friday. The nuclear statement made by a high-ranking official at the Japanese Prime Minister's office once again revealed that this faction is actively promoting Japan, the remilitarization and the rearmament. The development once again demonstrates for the enormous and dangerous remark by Japanese Prime Minister Takaichi Taiwan on November 7 were by no means a coincidence, said the ministry spokesperson Lin Xian during a regular news briefing. Malaysia's former Prime Minister Najib Razak will appeal the decision by a judge denying him to be to serve the remainder for his sentence at home, was said the lawyer on Monday after the first two for the rulings of the ex-premier faces the week over the role for the multi-billion-dollar $1 billion scandal. Najib, who had been imprisoned since 2022 over the role in the multi-billion-dollar scandal, had his 12-year jail sentence covered last year by the pardon board chair by the country's former king. But they insist the monarch also issued an arraignment order that converted the sentence for the house arrest, and he has been seeking to compel the government to affirm the document's existence and enforce its content. Government official, including member for the pardon board, for months denied knowledge of his existence. Former king official, a federal lawyer this year, confirmed the royal document had been issued. A brawl broke out in Turkish parliament between members of the ruling AK party and Republican People's Party on Sunday. On last day, the buzzed video obtained by Reuters showed an argument broke out between two members of the parliament from the two parties and widened as others rushed to join. The brawl began after the heated exchange between AK party Borussia MP Mustafa Vranek and CSP Group Deputy Chairman Gons Gaina. Parliament Speaker Numan Kurtumos adjourned the meeting after the fight. Despite the violence, the 2026 central government budget law was approved by the vote of 320 to 249 for the final 2024 final accounts. Law passed 316 by 247. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese on Monday publicly apologized for the recent Bondi Beach shooting and announced border reform. During a news conference at the Parliament House, Canberra, Premier Albanese also said his government would walk daily to protest Australian citizens as well. Albanese announced a series for legislative proposal aimed at strengthening the protection against hate crime for the extremist activity, emphasizing broad consultation with both communities for the Parliament. The proposed measures include the creating an aggravated offence for the hate preaching, advocating violence against protected group, an increasing penalty for hate speech, and advocacy for the violence for proper disruptions. A planned protest against the withdrawal for the rebel group M23 from eastern Congolese town in Uvira was dispersed by the gunfire on Monday before it could begin, sending people fleeing for the safety. Residents had gathered at the several points in Uvira for the march against M23 departure when shoot rained out from the hill overlooking the town. The incident triggered panic across the lakeside town for the Uvira. Ships chartered transport halted. A resident rushed indoor, bringing daily activities to the standstill. Before ending, we go through the SATV News headlines again. Tariq Rahman to register as voter on December 27, announces Salahuddin Ahmed. NCP Labour Wing leader shot in broad daylight in Khulna. Motive behind the shooting remains unclear. Significant progress made in Osman Hadi murder probe, said Home Affairs advisor. You are up to date with the top stories so far here on SATV. And to know the latest news, visit www.satv.tv. Stay with SATV.